Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Karen Kozia Phillips. C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, still no confirmation on whether Lady Gypsy has replaced Fya Empress in this Sunday's Dimanche Gras finals. Lynette Lady Gypsy Steele had launched a challenge to the Calypso Fiesta results via her lawyers. She alleged fellow competitor Lorna Fya Empress Ned Reid is not a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago and should not have been in the competition. The Trinbago Unified Calypsonians organization manages both Calypso Fiesta and Calypso Monarch competitions. When C News contacted its president, Lutalo Masimba, also known as Brother Resistance, he said they are still waiting on Mrs. Ned Reid to respond and no decision can be made until then.
Right, and on receipt of the letter, Tuko communicated with Fya Empress, indicating to her that we have received a pre-action protocol letter and that she was required to produce whatever documents she may have concerning her status.
He went on to say Tuko had no idea Fya Empress was not a national of Trinidad and Tobago, as she has been a member of the body for several years. To avoid this in the future, Mr. Masimba said changes to the registration of the competition may have to take place.
Based on that, we had no reason to ask Ms. Ned to produce any thing. I didn't know that she was from Tobago. Moving forward, however, it would seem as though when we open for registration for our national competition, that those who are desirous of participating would have to come with a birth certificate and or the ID card.
To the news now, the family of 50-year-old Arnold Bihari and 21-year-old Stephen Bihari are planning to go to Venezuela to find out if two bodies found in Venezuelan waters are those of their relatives. The two went missing last week after their fishing boat overturned. Several searches have been carried out to find the men, however they have not been located. Reports this morning said two bodies were found and the family of the men were contacted. And we'll have more on this in a subsequent newscast. Some crime news now. One man is dead and another injured following a shooting in Valencia this morning. Reports say shortly before 9 o'clock, a group of men is said to have entered a house on Urupuch Road, Valencia, and opened fire on the two. 20-year-old Junior Lewis was shot and killed. The other victim, who is yet to be identified, was shot in the leg and taken to hospital for treatment. Security expert Paul Daniel Nahus says he does not agree with statements by the Commissioner of Police that air rifles are as dangerous as pistols. He explained the difference while speaking on CTV's Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago.
Caliber, the grain size, the effective range, I mean I could go on and on, the rifle, I could go on and on about why a pistol is more dangerous. I think maybe the point he was trying to get across, maybe he exaggerated a little bit, but the point he was trying to get across is that these can be used as deadly weapons, especially if they have people in the country who are bringing it down illegally. With spiral bores and with higher calibers and with these type of features that the law is against.
Mr. Nahus is also in support of the current air rifle legislation. He explained persons are pushing for rifled barrels and unregulated importation of air rifles with high calibers and spiral bores. This, he said, is pushing the police to move the permissions for air rifles under the FUL and drop the power to 800 FPS, which in effect will make it impossible to get.
Everyone in the country using legitimately is happy with the regulations. We've been allowed to have a variety of different types of weapons on the Commissioner's purview. Everyone was fine until a couple of people basically sprung up, threw a set of ignorance out in the community and, you know, raise this hornet's nest of nonsense.
To other news now, former Minister of Works and Infrastructure Dr. Suraj Ratan Rambachan claims if a person wants to get an inspection certificate and sticker on time, they may have to pay a bribe. This after reports that there's a lack of stickers at the inspection offices due to a rush by members of the public. Dr. Rambachan issued a statement saying he is yet to get his certificate, although the inspection took place last Friday, 17th February. He said, quote, "Of course, if you have $700, it is possible to get it done without visiting the licensing office. Ask the touts around the office in San Fernando if you think this is untrue," end quote. He also claimed for the last 4 weeks the South office is closed at 1 p.m. due to lack of air conditioning and water problems. Well, as hundreds of motorists jammed dozens of vehicles into inspection centers throughout the country, seeking to have their vehicles inspected, Reports were made that inspection stickers had run out. Many drivers, fearing that they might have to pay the $5,000 fine, became panicked. However, CNews spoke this morning with the Transport Commissioner about the matter, who said that panic is quite unnecessary.
Yes, and this is why I was worried about Trinidadians. Because if you know that you had done the right thing, then you ain't really worried. And the fact remains, once they were inspected, they cannot be held liable. The fact remains, they did what was supposed to be done.
He said your inspection certificate can be used in the absence of the sticker if you are stopped by the police.
Some ignorance, in the true sense, not knowing, officer decides he wants to charge you because he might have his own agenda. So you see, me, I don't care. Once I charge, I go and stand in the courthouse and wait. I have 5-10 matters in the courthouse. My boss ought to see me. You say, all right. Now, it might be a little inconvenient for you to have to go to court. But you go to court and you say, look, Your Honor, I did my inspection, I paid this, I paid for my insurance, I renewed my driver's permit, whatever. And this was the situation, that doesn't make me illegal, and I dismiss the case.
You're watching the CNews Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at CNews Live. The principal of the St. Madeleine Secondary School is threatening legal action against the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Lindsley Dudai. A pre-action protocol letter was sent to Mr. Dudai by the attorney representing Principal Joy Arjun Singh. The letter said the proposed action is for defamation in the form of libel and slander coming out of statements made by Mr. Dudai during a press conference on February 10, 2017. It said since comments were made against Arjun Singh, she has suffered embarrassment, mental stress, and public condemnation. She wants Mr. Dudai to make a public apology, pay damages for injuries inflicted, and indemnify all legal costs in the matter. CNews tried to contact the tutor president on the matter, however, calls to his cell phone went unanswered. Further news now. Well ahead of tomorrow's debate on the controversial FATCA bill due to take place in the Parliament, the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago is issuing a final warning to both government and the opposition to put politics aside and act in the best interest of the country. At a press conference this morning, President of the Bankers Association, Anya Schnoor, said she was disappointed by the conversation surrounding the bill in the Parliament.
Unfortunately, what I heard was a total misrepresentation of what this bill is trying to achieve. And yet again, we are forced to come here to debunk what I guess we can now all refer to as the fake news about FATCA.
Ms. Schnoor reiterated the purpose of the law as she explained again the law is targeted at U.S. citizens only.
There are many U.S. persons who either live outside of the U.S. or remit money outside of the U.S. or earn money outside of the U.S. Those persons are already subject to U.S. tax laws. And the reason the U.S. government can impose this obligation on foreign banks is also very simple. We are the customers of U.S. banks.
And government and opposition will resume the debate on FATCA in the Parliament tomorrow, after which both sides will vote on the bill. Now, by law, the bill requires a 3/5 majority to be passed.
A lot of it is misinformed, and a lot of it is not based on the actual data. There have been a number of studies throughout the Caribbean comparing the rates and charges and the various institutions and the products that they offer to the public. We are probably the only sector in Trinidad and Tobago that actually publishes its fees and services.
Well, in some other news now, hunting season will officially close on Tuesday, 28th February 2017. And the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Fisheries says during the period March 1st to 31st, persons must dispose of all wild meat in their possession. According to the Conservation of Wildlife Act, it is an offense to be in possession of said meat after March 31st, 2017. License holders are required to surrender their hunting permits by May 31st, 2017 in order to avoid being fined. Well, here's a look at the weather forecast.
There'll be a mix of conditions through this afternoon with partly sunny skies and occasional showers, especially for Trinidad. It will feel warm, 32 degrees Celsius in Trinidad and 30 degrees Celsius in Tobago. Later tonight will be clear and cool once more, possibly low as 22 degrees Celsius. For fisherfolk heading out, you can expect smooth seas through the Caribbean of 1 meter, getting up to 1.5 meters further offshore out in the Atlantic, with these northeasterly swells of 8 seconds and north-northwesterly winds of 5 to 10 knots. Tide is high at 1 p.m., then low at 8 p.m. That is the latest weather, and I am meteorologist Dean Wallace.
In some Carnival news now, Ted Eustace and Crystal Thomas have been crowned the senior king and queen for Carnival 2017. The competition took place last night. In the King's competition, Eustace did a portrayal of Crypto, Lord of the Galaxy, and scored 431 points. He was followed by Curtis Eustace with 415 points, and third place was Keston Bentham. For the Queen's portrayal, Thomas's portrayal of Denibula got her the top spot. He gained 430 points. He was followed by Roxanne Omalo, who also got 430 points. However, there was a tiebreaker which gave Thomas the upper hand. Third position was Rosemary Kuru Jagasa with 426 points. And the Junior King and Queen champions were also crowned last night. They are Samuel Jackson and Natalia Dabro, respectively. Jackson scored 438 points with his portrayal of Samuel Starr, the mystical blazing fireman. The second and third positions went to Ryan Suknanan and Denzel Ford, respectively. Natalia Dabro portrayed Egypt's beauty and got 432 points. She was followed by Jemiah Walters and Ariel Lyda Batiste, both scoring 416 points. But Walters won in the tiebreaker, and we'll have full details of this in a subsequent newscast. The National Carnival Development Foundation says while there has been an increase in the number of bands for the carnival season, there has been a decrease in the number of people who have registered to play. This from the National Carnival Development Foundation, who was responding to statements from the chairman of the National Carnival Commission.
So you have what you call, again, a mini band that is 15 persons. Okay. One has to understand it's you know, bands is one thing and there's nothing wrong with that, and we encourage people to do that. But when you look at the overall scenario, and you know, one has to bear in mind what Mr. De Silva said specifically relates to Port of Spain Mass.
Well, he said it's a fact that 82% of people who play Mass are females, and there's a fear of crime in the country, which is preventing them from wanting to play Mass in 2017. He said there are other issues, including the economic situation and the travel ban in the United States, which have not been helping the situation.
Approximately 40,000 persons that come in to Trinidad to play Mass, and most of them is from within the diaspora. And with what is taking place in the States, the majority of them is from the United States. What is taking place in the States, there is a whole heap of hesitation on their part about coming into Trinidad and not being certain about their status when they get back.
Well, Chairman of the Tobago Carnival Committee, George Leacock, says Tobago is ready to host Carnival celebrations. Mr. Leacock was speaking on CTV's morning program, Good Morning TNT.
Tomorrow night, Calypso Monarch. Friday morning, Junior Calypso Monarch. Saturday morning, Children's Parade Scarborough. Saturday night, Afro Queen Roxborough. Sunday, Junior Parade Roxborough. Monday morning, you have Juve. Start from one end, Crown Point Scarborough, Roxborough. There's a Roxborough afternoon parade.
And as for Carnival Tuesday, Mr. Leacock said bands have been told to assemble early.
Bands need to be out earlier. There's several infrastructural things, transportation things for the bands that are coming from outside of Scarborough into Scarborough to participate that need to be smoothed out, need to be made more efficient than they have been in the past.
Some other news now. Well, a $1,000 fine or 6 months in jail if you wear a mask or disguise in public except during the carnival season. Now, this is according to the police. They say it's also illegal for someone to threaten to smear or dab anything on another person in order to intimidate or obtain money or anything of value. The police also said anyone found with prohibited items, firearms and ammunition, and items resembling these can have them seized by a police officer to be kept in safe custody by the TTPS until disposed of. And anyone who refuses to deliver these items to the police or obstructs the police officer in pursuance of the provisions is liable to a fine of $240 and imprisonment for 6 months. Now, it's also illegal for someone to dress in any uniform resembling those of the protective services. Well, last evening, the fourth installment of Tuesday on the Rocks was a hit at O2 Park in Chaguaramas, as local and regional acts set the tone for the countdown to Carnival Week. Under the theme Mission Through Music, the concert was not short of their adoring fans. Jamaican singer Barrington Levy delivered this item.
To keep on clearing, you've got to water it. So you see, something special is in my heart, yeah. Black roses.
And you can join us this evening in the 7 p.m. news to find out more on how the event went. Welcome back. We start with news of football. National football coach Dennis Lawrence was all smiles as he took charge of his first on-field session with the members of his new-look national squad. Lawrence and the other members of his coaching staff, including Stern John, Stuart Charles Fevry, and goalkeeping coach Ross Russell, had a well-planned session for the players. First up, as a new day in TNT soccer began.
I think it's important that no matter what type of session we're doing, we need to always work on something. So we've got particular things that the staff and myself, we know exactly what we're looking for, and hopefully the players will enjoy the morning.
As for Lawrence, he used the first session to lay down the law and to set the tone for how he plans to approach his job.
Looking forward to working with the players. I think we're going to use this morning more or less to make an introduction to myself and into the players to get an idea of how we want to work, how things are going to be done from now on. And the players are all excited, all with the pods and everything, and feeling like Superman in the moment.
And in more football news, it's being viewed as 2 points lost in the Trinidad and Tobago under-20 camp after their 1-1 tie with Bermuda to kick off their campaign in the CONCACAF World Cup qualification series in Costa Rica. In a game of 2 halves, the TT outfit dominated play in the first half and should have added to their 1-goal advantage. Instead, Bermuda equalized and held on for the draw, a result that coach Brian Williams says makes the job a little harder for TNT to qualify. That's it for sport. And that's how we end our CNews report at noon. I'm Karen Koze-Phillip. Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the CNews website at ctvtt.com. Do have a good afternoon.